I have permission to tell you the story of a young man who grew up in our community. He was not a member of the church. He and his parents were active in another faith. He says that when he was growing up, some of his LDS associates belittled him, made him feel out of place, and poked fun at him. He came to literally hate this church and its people. He saw no good in any of them. Then his father lost his employment and had to move. In the new location, at the age of 17, he was able to enroll in college. There, for the first time in his life, he felt the warmth of friends, one of whom, named Richard, asked him to join a club of which he was president. He says, "For the first time in my life, someone wanted me around. I didn't know how to react, but thankfully I joined. It was a feeling that I loved, the feeling of having a friend. I had prayed for one my whole life, and now, after 17 years of waiting, God answered that prayer." At the age of 19, he found himself as a tent partner with Richard during their summer employment. He noticed Richard reading a book every night. He asked what he was reading. He was told that he was reading the Book of Mormon. He says, "I quickly changed the subject and went to bed. After all, that is the book that ruined my childhood. I tried forgetting about it, but a week went by and I couldn't sleep. Why was he reading it every night? I soon couldn't stand the unanswered questions in my mind. So one night I asked him what was so important in that book. What was in it? He handed me the book. I quickly stated that I never wanted to touch the book. I just wanted to know what was in it. He started to read where he'd stopped. He read about Jesus and about an appearance in the Americas. I was shocked. I didn't think that the Mormons believed in Jesus. Richard asked him to sing in a state conference with him. The day came and the conference started. Elder Gary Coleman from the First Quorum of the 70 was the guest speaker. I found out during the conference that he was also a convert. At the end, Richard proceeded to pull me by the arm up to talk to him. I finally agreed, and as I was approaching him, he turned and smiled at me. I introduced myself and said that I wasn't a member and that I had just come to sing in the choir. He smiled and said he was happy that I was there and stated that the music was great. I asked him how he knew the church was true. He told me a short version of his testimony and asked if I had read the Book of Mormon. I said no. He promised me that the first time I read it, I would feel the Spirit. On a subsequent occasion, this young man and his friend were traveling. Richard handed him a Book of Mormon and asked that he read it aloud. He did so, and suddenly the inspiration of the Holy Spirit touched him. Time passed, and his faith increased. He agreed to be baptized. His parents opposed him, but he went forward and was baptized, a member of this church. His testimony continues to strengthen. Now, only a few weeks ago, he was married to a beautiful Latter-day Saint girl for time and eternity in the Salt Lake Temple. Elder Gary Coleman performed his sealing. That is the end of the story, but there are great statements in that story. One is the sorry manner in which his young Mormon friends treated him. Next is the manner in which his newfound friend Richard treated him. It was totally opposite from his previous experience. It led to his conversion and baptism in the face of terrible odds. This kind of miracle can happen and will happen when there is kindness, respect, and love, why do any of us have to be so mean and unkind to others? Why can't all of us reach out in friendship to everyone about us? Why is there so much bitterness and animosity? It is not a part of the gospel of Jesus Christ.